do I start? Oh, it started already? My bad. I'm sorry. Um, Good morning, everybody. So today I am presenting about VR. I think VR is a lot better than consoles for many reasons. One of the reasons is because you could do mechanical work on VR, which is called Wrench. There's a video game called Wrench where you could actually modify a car. You could put in engines, you could put a four-cylinder, eight-cylinder, you could even put turbos in it. And you could even lose bolts, which is pretty funny because we actually do lose a lot of bolts in real life. So it's really realistic, and there's many other games such as scary games, which if you ever have fear of anything, you could face your fears in VR now without actually feeling fully scared and being fully attacked by a zombie. There's also Google Earth, which you could actually roam around the whole Earth and fly. Obviously, you're not gonna bump into no birds, and like you're not gonna be able to say hi to birds or something like that. But you will be able to see a lot of things that you would want to see in actual real life where you can't go. Maybe you want to go see a pond next to your house, apartment, or something. So that's a good way to figure it out. They also have body they also have body VRs, so you could actually see what's inside your body. It's basically a game where you put in a pill inside somebody's body, and then you get to like explore like his stomach, his heart, his lungs, and etc. So you could actually learn a lot, and it'll tell you the different type of blood cells, white blood cells, red blood cells, and a bunch of other things that I do not know because I haven't played the game. But you could also go to concerts, which is pretty cool because I would want to actually go to a concert with you guys. That would be fun. We could all actually bump around with each other, and they're actually trying to evolve VR to have touch. So therefore, we could probably like give each other a high five, and we would feel the high five, or we could tap each other's shoulder, and we would actually be able to feel each other's taps. So I think that would be cool. They also have really good stories, and that's a really good thing for kids because they're able to experience it in real life and have a lot of more information and knowledge, and will be able to learn a lot better. The other thing that they do have besides that is with the VR for the mechanic for the mechanical one, you can actually take out the car and race it into an actual like stadium. So you're able to go and race the car, have fun with it, and if you crash, they're actually trying to start it to make it seem like you actually feel the whole crash and hit your body, which is a pretty good thing. And I mean, I wouldn't want to feel and experience the whole like hurtfulness of it because that would hurt a lot. But they're trying to make it where it only vibrates, which is a good thing because I do not want to get hurt and come out with bruises outside my room, which is a good thing. Besides that, that's pretty much all I have about VR. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time because I know a lot of people have to present. So that is my presentation for today. Next up, I have Jasenia. I don't know if she's on my left side or on my right side, but we have her next. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Fernando. Okay, so imagine being recorded and being watched.
Yesenia, do you mind if I stop you? We're gonna do about 1.5 minutes for feedback for Fernando.
I ain't gonna lie, that was horrible.
All right, keep adding feedback for Fernando. And then Yesenia, you're welcome to get started whenever you want.
Okay, imagine being recorded and being watched in your own home without even knowing it. Hi, I'm Yesenia Teles, and I firmly believe that there should be a stricter enforcement of consumer purchase of hidden cameras. I want to share with you all about why they shouldn't be allowed for just anyone to have and how they are being used today. Although hidden cameras have pros to it, I am here to tell you why I'm opposed to it and why it's an invasion of privacy. Hidden cameras are very easy to purchase without needing any specific documentation. They are inexpensive and they sell them anywhere. You don't need a reason, you don't need a form of ID or anything. This is why I strongly believe there should be extra steps into buying one where you can register it to your name and other documentation. If you go on Amazon and search up hidden cameras, there are over 7,000 different kinds. They all look like normal devices. There are clocks, screws, charger outlets, photo frames, smoke detectors, and many more. All you really need is an Amazon account, a credit card, and that's it. It's yours. There have been thousands of cases where people have found hidden cameras in hotels, Airbnbs, public restrooms, and even in their own home. Airbnbs especially because the person who is renting their home are actually allowed to have cameras as long as you disclose it. But how do you know if they have a hidden camera that didn't tell you about? You don't. In 2017, there was a case in which a 56-year-old man who was an Airbnb host for 2 years with over 50 positive reviews would spy on people who were renting his home until one day a couple who were staying there noticed that there was a hidden camera smoke detector. Now imagine how many other people were being recorded without knowing it. There was also another case in which a woman realized she was being recorded. She was changing the input on the TV one day, and she came across a live feed of different areas of her apartment that her apartment manager had put in there. I myself experienced something similar as well when back in February I stayed in an Airbnb in Italy. I was trying to connect to the Wi-Fi when I see that one of the Wi-Fi names said bedroom camera in Italian. I searched it up on Google to see what it meant, and when I saw that a bunch of pictures of rooms with beds popped up, my heart sunk. Although I never found anything, I had this weird feeling that I was being watched ever since the second I got there. And I am not the type of person to ever feel paranoid. Now, I'm not saying that hidden cameras should be banned or illegal because there are many pros to having one. I strongly believe that law enforcement and our people from the government should be able to use one at all times. I just feel like if it wasn't as easy to buy one, then there wouldn't be as many cases like we have today. I know people use hidden cameras in their home to watch if their family members are being mistreated when they are not around. But I honestly feel like you don't need a hidden camera for that. You can buy a public camera when they can see that it's there and people will obviously behave in a good manner. So now that you're aware that hidden cameras can be anywhere and anything, make sure you're not being watched right now. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Keep adding that feedback in the chat box for Yesenia. All right, Yesenia, do you want to pass it on?
Yeah, thank you all for listening. Now I'll pass it on to Ricky.
Okay, so first I want to start off by pointing out how I feel like COVID-19 has affected all of us greatly. More specifically, I feel like the shelter in place order that was enacted on all of us is starting to give us all like some sort of cabin fever or some anxiety. But with that in mind, I want you all to imagine, what if instead of the walls and the windows that surround your house or that like cozy rug floor beneath your feet, instead were metal bars or concrete floors? Or also, what if you are also had a monetary value to your life? What if people came to see you every day for $17 to $23 a day and you weren't able to leave your house at all? Sadly, this is the reality that some wild animals face due to animal captivity. My name is Ricky Oganis, and I'm here to tell you all why zoos need to be closed down. The key points I'll be talking about today are zoos don't educate enough to justify the captivity of animals. Also, zoos are detrimental to animals' overall health, and also what a good alternative to animal captivity would be. So firstly, zoos do not educate enough to justify the captivity of these animals. And according to Eric Jensen, sociologist for academic journal Conservation Biology, a study was done on children ages 7 to 15 that 1,742 children, out of all of them, only 38% of them demonstrated positive learning outcomes. The rest, the majority, only experienced either negative learning or no change at all. So this already makes you question the ethics and the moral of zoos, because their message or their meaning is to, I believe they hide behind this facade where they keep these animals captive for human benefit and animal benefit as well. When really, if you think about it, children go crazy about dinosaurs, but they've never seen the things in real life. So what's the point of having animals in cages for us? My second point is zoos are detrimental to animals' overall health. And yes, you may go on the internet and find that data even says that out of 50 mammalian species that are kept in zoos, 80% actually live longer in captivity. However, longevity does not correlate with the adequacy of their living conditions. So just because they're living in the zoos and not getting hunted out in the wild doesn't mean that they're living a better life than they would. A study done at South Lake Safari Zoo in the UK shows that actually more than 500 have died due to the neglect and human error. And this could be either starvation, hypothermia, and even in some random cases, hit by a car. And also in that same study, 75% of inspections that found unsatisfactory issues weren't even addressed. And this is all coming from freedomforanimals.org. My third point is an alternative to animal captivity. So when I was in Thailand, I got the chance to experience one of the biggest and most gentle creatures that I've ever seen, which were elephants. And it was a fun experience. It was meant to be just a fun experience. You know, all of us are trying to try out new things, but it ended up also becoming like a very heartbreaking one, because our guide for the day actually told us a backstory of each elephant that we got to. And I won't be able to tell you each one's backstory, but I can summarize that a lot of those animals ended up in that sanctuary from being captive, whether it was in a zoo, in a circus, or even forced to do physical labor. And the methods that trainers would use to make elephants submit to training or to staying in confinement is maybe being hit with a blunt object, poked with sharp objects, or even in some cases, a hook through the ear or to the eye to make the animal submit to human demand. With this experience, I feel like sanctuaries are the best alternative to zoos, because instead of zoos just dropping facts on animals, like what their species is, how many miles they walk in a day, or I don't know where they're from, sanctuaries actually educate the public and care overall about the health of these animals. And so what I would like to leave with you all today is just know that 1 million species in the world are extinct due to human actions. And I believe to lessen our footprint on the earth, we need to close down zoos in replacement for sanctuaries. And that is the end of my speech. And now I'll pass it off to Alex H for his speech.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alex Wynn, and I'll start with this. Universal healthcare should be a right and not a luxury, and I'm here to tell you why. Did you know the United States is the only country in the world that doesn't provide access to healthcare to all of its citizens, despite being the richest? Did you know the United States pays the most in healthcare costs by GDP per cap, by percentage of GDP, despite not having universal healthcare like all the other socialist countries? Why are we the only country that pays that puts profit over lives? And why is it that stubbing our toe can result in us having to pay a $2,000 hospital bill? Well, according to a Gallup poll, 66% of Americans saw an increase in drug prices. And among those surveyed, 23% say that they had one instance where they couldn't pay for a drug that they absolutely needed. To me, that's entirely insane. It's insane to think that these people could one day be us, who, without having the ability to pay, would have to uh, put aside necessary drugs, surgeries, treatments that we need to save our lives. If we had universal health care, drug prices would not only go down, but expensive health treatments relating to cancer and other diseases could also be afforded. If we implement universal healthcare, that brings us to the second point of the argument, which is grudgingly taxes. Taxes, I would like to assert, will not go up as much as you think it would. It will go up by a rate of 6 to 10% on average, according to different surveys. And with this, 55% of Americans currently have their insurance paid for by their employers. Uh, if we aggregate this and sort of make a correlation model, this would mean that the average American would see a higher increase in taxes, but wouldn't have to pay for the premiums that they currently do. So in essence, this will result in a higher rate in take-home pay than any time in American history. Um, we would see, according to a poll by Huffington Post, or a survey, I would like to say, we would see 15,000 take-home pay and 8,000, 4,000 more we have to pay in taxes. So that is a difference of 12,000. And if you really think about it, that's as much as someone in the college in America pays yearly for tuition. So that's a lot of money. Finally, the tax hike will be proportional to how someone is able to pay for it. So with the existing tax bracket, we see that the tax rate goes up slowly across the board as the average income increases. So this would be the same for a tax rate increase for healthcare costs. And my final point is healthcare should be a right and not a luxury. And if you think about it, it's a basic necessity that we all deserve and not all of us can afford. So imagine for a second that we're suddenly denied access to water, to housing, and to food. How much of that would affect how we see our current health system today? I'd like to point out the story of Peter Morley, a person who, because of a single pre-existing condition, he was denied the right to a healthcare plan that he needed when he needed to treat lupus. Relatively before this, he was a healthy individual, and by the end of 2017, and this is his 10-year journey, he accumulated 17 pre-existing conditions because he was initially denied treatment for that initial disease, and this resulted in him to in a state where his condition worsened to where he nearly died. Today, his story is reminiscent of many who did not make it, and to most who are still battling the discriminatory actions of corporations that dictate who gets treated and who doesn't. And if this is how we treat our citizens, and if we discriminate people based on how they can pay, then I would like to end that the United States is not the greatest country in the world. Thank you. I'm open to feedbacks.
I'm seeing a lot of the same people giving feedback. So if you haven't typed in feedback into the chat box, please do. Everyone's voice is important. And if you're one of those people who keeps, submitting feedback, you're welcome to keep doing so. Just want to encourage everyone else to step up to that level too.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to pass it off to Muhammad.
Okay, so we are constantly using our phones for multiple hours and watching shows on our smart TV. But what if I told you that this was dangerous and puts you at risk for a serious illness later on in life? Hello, I'm Mohammed, and I firmly believe that 5G is dangerous to humans. So what is 5G, you ask? 5G is just like 4G. 4G is what most of our phones, if you have like an iPhone or the latest iPhone, most likely you'd be using 4G or 4G LTE. Um, just like 2G and 3G, 4G, uh, 4G is the fastest currently. 5G is promising 10 times faster connectivity and buffer speeds. Download speeds, such as an hour long video that would take an hour to that's about an hour that would usually in 4G take 15 to 20 minutes. In 5G would take a couple minutes. So I will go over the scientists' research on 5G radiation, the risks of cell phone radiation, and cancer cases caused by cell phone towers emitting 4G and 5G frequencies. So firstly, a group of 248 scientists from 42 nations, they made a research, peer-reviewed research called the EMF Scientist Appeal, and they went over the risks of 5G radiation, EMF waves, and they sent their research to the United Nations Environment Program. In the research, they claim some effects include cancer risk, genetic damages, structural changes in the reproductive system, memory deficits, neurological disorders, and negative impacts on the general well-being of humans. Damage goes beyond just humans too. It goes to plants and animal life. There have been cases of people growing tumors. Also, there have been people growing tumors from too much radiation already from 4G radiation and phone usage. So I have a question for you all. Who gets a headache after using their phone for too long? Quick question. No?
I do.
I do.
Most people do. Okay. Generally, spending too long on your device, even for healthy eyes and brains, staring at your phone for too long will lead to headaches, migraines, and eye dryness and light sensitivity in 1/3 of people. Um, Also, we are seeing increases in creating, there's head tumors. There's an increase of head tumors in tumor registries, and that would be because of too much phone usage. Uh, and thirdly, high rates of cancer in kids. There was a example of higher rates of cancer in kids from a California elementary school, Weston Elementary School in Ripon, California, and there was a cell phone tower near the classroom. The moms believe the recent increase in cases, because there was at least within the year there was at least 10 to 15 cases inside the classroom, and it was caused by they believe that it was caused by the radiation and uh, cell phone towers right across their classroom. So to conclude, if we want to live a healthy lifestyle, we don't need to sacrifice for faster internet connection. So to combat the radiation, we should spread awareness and put that phone down. So I'm open to feedback. Thank you for listening, and to pass it off I would like to pass it off to Margarita.
Thank you. Okay, I have a question. How many of you are still reading books? Please raise your hand in reactions or actual if you are still reading actual paper books. Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Margarita, and I'm here to share with you why I believe that soon paper books will become a thing of the past. Ever since the ebook came along, reading on the go has gotten even easier. Whether you are a daily commuter or traveling by plane, seeing people with an e-reader in their hands instead of a book or a newspaper is no longer an uncommon sight. First of all, ebooks come with font flexibility, making reading easier, and e-readers can store thousands of ebooks on a single device. Ebooks are much more portable than physical books, so you can carry hundreds or thousands of them around with you on a device that weighs less than a half a pound. You can download them in a matter of minutes, so you don't have to wait for them to be delivered, or if you order them online, or you don't have to go to the store to buy them. You are never out of stock because they are digital files. Also, you can get many ebooks for free from different resources. And in addition, ebooks come with fun features like sharing highlighted quotations on social media, looking up words in the dictionary, or digital bookmarks, and much more. Secondly, ebooks are usually less expensive than their paper counterparts. Print books from large publishers have a significant amount of overhead, including office space, benefits, salaries for employees, utilities, etc. Other costs include the printing, editing, marketing, and distribution process. Also, publishers take a risk by signing an author since there's no guarantee that the author will be successful. All of these factors go into the final price readers pay for a print book. And finally, ebooks save the environment. A list of environmental benefits of reading ebooks includes such important points as saving trees, reducing paper consumption, saving energy used in book production, eliminating packaging materials and all the energy and cash costs associated with these materials, saving fuel used for transporting paper books, eliminating the pollution caused by producing and shipping books, also reducing the energy and cash costs and pollution required to dispose of books, and also saving money. For example, if the 2 billion books sold in the United States last year had been sold as ebooks at $5 less per actual book, we might have saved about $10 million. Just as the music industry's landscape has changed to meet consumers' changing needs, the world of publishing had responded to the evolving times. We are in a transitional period. The affordances of screen reading continuously improve and expand, offering people a reason to switch paper books to screens. Books themselves likely won't disappear entirely. I think printed pages may assume an aesthetic value, and I think printed books just for plain old reading will be unusual in the future. Thank you for your attention. If you have a feedback, please put in chat box. Thank you. Okay, I would like to pass it off to Danielle R.
Margarita. Hi, good morning, everyone. Um, by a show of hands, who knows the rapper Tupac Shakur? Would anybody like to come off mute or maybe put in the chat box their favorite song by him?
Ambitions of a Rider.
Dear Mama.
That's a good one. Oh, that's another good one. Anybody else? One more, maybe?
Get around.
All right. Those are all some of Tupac's very famous songs. You know, he in my opinion, I believe that he was one of the most influential rappers ever. He was more than a rapper, he was a poet. And one of his quotes is the rose that grew from the concrete. And it goes, we wouldn't ask why a rose grew from the concrete for having damaged petals. In turn, we would all celebrate its tenacity. We would all love its will to reach the sun. Well, these are the roses, this is the concrete, and these are my damaged petals. Don't ask me why, thank God, and ask me how. So in Tupac's music, he would always, not always, he would try to get out the problems that's going on in the world today. And so one of his main songs, Changes, it talks about that. It talks about how everyone needs to change the way they eat, change the way they treat each other, and just change the way that they live. It says, "You see, the old way wasn't working, so it's on us to do what we got to do to survive." And that's actually one of his lyrics in Tupac song. It's called Changes. I recommend you go check it out. Um, he would also talk about his love for his mother, and that I could really relate to. Family is one of the most important things to me, and that song right there has a lot of meaning to me. Um, and so I will be telling you how Tupac was, yeah, more than a rapper but a poet, and about how he would always get praise from his peers. With Tupac's total 11 platinum albums, 4 during his career, 7 more released posthumously. To date, Tupac has sold more than 75 million records worldwide. And Tupac also scored 21 hits on the Hot 100, with 9 of them reaching the top 40. Two-thirds of his charts came after his death, unfortunately, on September 13th. 14 to 21 entries debuted after his passing. Um, Another reason why I would say that Tupac is one of the most influential rappers in the world is he would hang around Snoop Dogg a lot. And, Snoop Dogg is from the LBC, holding it down in the 213. You all know him. He's Snoop D-O double G. Everyone loves Snoop Dogg. No one could hate on him. He's super chill. They had a very good relationship. And so um, him and Snoop Dogg would hang out a lot in the studio. They would make songs together. They have a few songs together. And one of the interviews about Tupac, Snoop Dogg said that Tupac was viewed as the greatest rapper of all time due to his ability to write songs. What he said was his futuristic pen. Whenever Tupac would write a song, do a song, it'd always be like he was telling the future. That's one thing that Snoop Dogg really admired of his work. Um, Tupac not only was a rapper or a poet, but he was also an actor. He wouldn't try to box himself in as one thing. He wouldn't try to put a label on one thing. He's always trying to expand. And so Tupac was in 9 movies, and some films were about him as well. Yeah, if you check out the All Eyes on Me movie, that was a documentary on his life and his career, how people perceived him. Yeah, some people may say that Tupac probably, he's one of the influential rappers, but maybe not the most. But I mean, come on, even Snoop Dogg said that he was viewed as one of the greatest rappers. If you're disagreeing with Snoop Dogg, it's, I don't know, something wrong. Everyone loves Snoop Dogg. Yeah, some might say that he was getting distracted. He wasn't really focusing on his music, more on the movies, or one or the other was getting in the way. But he always had that nice and fine balance to it. He was a businessman. He was always trying to make the moves right for him. In closing, Tupac is one of the most influential rappers ever because he was so versatile in his music as well. He would talk about the issues going on in the world in some of his songs, and he also did some acting. I would encourage you to listen to Tupac's music, give it a shot. If there's anything that you want to know about him, I'm your guy. If you have any music suggestions, any certain type of songs, I'm more than glad to show you. And thank you. Open to feedback. All right, next I would love to pass it on to Kong.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm ready. Yeah. So, do you all know that Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, co-founder, Bill Gates, co-founder of the Microsoft, Steve Jobs, co-founder of the Apple, and Mark Zuckerberg, co-founder of the Facebook. That all of them are the billionaire, and all of them don't have a degree. Do you all know that? Yes, I see it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. The common point, my name is Gong Huang. First of all, I want to emphasize one point here that I don't say college degree is worthless, but without the degree, we still can get a good job. So I will prove that in three things. First, like there are a lot of company, big company out there, hire people without college. They don't care about that. Such as Google, IPM, Apple, or Costco wholesale, and a Starbucks. As long as you have an ability to work for them, they will hire you. And you know what? Yesterday, when I put the sentence like without college, we still can get a good job in the Google search. They give me 1 billion and 3 million results in 0.48 seconds. Wonderful. And second thing, I want to say this: the nowadays uh, nowadays degrees cannot evaluate 100 exactly the ability of a person. Uh, I will show you why. Like uh, um, many like it's not so difficult to see a lady student can get high score in class. I'm sure that everybody can see it. Like the reason why, because on the internet they had a lot of the homework services, like the helping homework services. For example, like we can do someone want to get the high score in the essays, like when they just pay around $50, then they will have teacher will rate that very hard. They don't know. Yes, if we study in that way, we go to nowhere. And third point, like there are many resources help us to be success, like such as non-profit organization, just as like Europe, Lambda School, or online learning. So that's the reason why I choose Europe to study. Like I can set my time and give me an opportunity to get an internship. Okay. Yeah, and one more thing, that don't look down on the exercise um, like a hankering. As you study with me in a DA class, you may know that I already suggest you for the hankering website. Their exercise very it's very difficult. If you can pass it, I'm sure that you don't need to apply any student from the other college or university. You pass it, they can hire you. Yeah, last point. Like yourself just because you don't have a degree. Like Steve Jobs says, stay fully, stay hungry, and stay fully. Thank you for listening. I'm open for any feedback. Thank you.
Marie, are you here? I don't
Yeah,
see her online.
So I think I will pass it up to Francisco.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Kong, for your speech. Do you remember a time when you were being bullied and felt helpless? Now imagine your child was being picked on at school. Would you want them to know how to properly defend themselves? Or hey, maybe even help other students in need? My name is Francisco Lopez, and I'm a jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, and Muay Thai practitioner, and I firmly believe that mixed martial arts makes anyone a better human being overall. For children with low self-esteem issues, martial arts teaches confidence and self-discipline while providing an engaging physical activity. Others might contradict and say that mixed martial arts leads towards children being more violent. A study investigating the effects of grappling training on mood and general well-being found that children and young adults who regularly train in a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym were shown to have higher energy levels, were more agreeable, clear-minded, composed, and confident when compared to a group of non-grapplers who train regularly at other types of gyms. Mixed martial arts was originally meant for self-defense. Today, lots of people do martial arts to build physical and mental strength. Another false accusation is that children will be badly injured. Martial arts schools with decent to great head instructors will have implemented an exercise program that, if done correctly, not only does it strengthens the body, but also does it with little to no damage. Not only does mixed martial arts help children obtain a healthier lifestyle, but also helps them to stay focused for longer periods of time on one single task. In the age of Twitter and Snapchat, distractions abound and attention deficits are on the rise. In an experiment conducted by researchers at Bangor University, martial arts students saw improved attention, focus, and alertness compared in a control group with different types of physical activities. The discipline that martial arts requires can improve attention and help students get off their smartphones in addition to their couches. By training in martial arts, you will start to notice immediate benefits even after just a few sessions. Learning the various techniques and disciplines martial arts has to offer is an exercise of the mind that your body will be thankful for. People tend to forget that the human mind acts like a muscle and as such must be exercised daily in order to enhance its functionality. By practicing martial arts, the mind is engaged and elevated, improving our focus and concentration. So if you're looking to not only get your children in the best physical shape, but also enhance their frame of mind, martial arts is a must try. Sign your kids up for a class today. Thank you for your time. I would be open to feedback on the comments. I would now like to pass it to Angelina.
Thank you, Francisco. All right, I'm gonna start. I was on mute, sorry. All right. So, The death penalty is discriminatory and a failure of the judicial system, and it should be illegal. The U.S. Senator Kamala Harris once stated that the death penalty is depraved and a misuse of taxpayer dollars. And let me tell you why. It is the Latino and Black defendants who are far more likely to be executed more than the white counterparts. The death penalty was replaced with, if the death penalty was replaced without life and life without parole, California would save about $150 million per year. And it can go into more important fundings like the healthcare system or schools. I'm Angelina, and I firmly believe that the death penalty should be made illegal, starting off with all states. As a civilized society, we shed the idea of doing criminals the crime they did to the victims. Like, for the penalty of rape, we won't rape the criminal. And for burning down an arsonist's house, why should we punish the murderer with death? It's hypocrisy. Coming from a country who wants equity for all. The death penalty is immoral and capital punishment is barbaric. And people may oppose the death penalty being illegal because a lot of people think criminals deserve the death penalty for their crimes. But I think it's inhumane for the government to decide whether another human life gets put to death. And, I have a family member on death row, and he has been in prison since 1992. And I just would ask you, how would you feel if your family member was on death row, regardless of the crimes committed? He has 60 years to life, and he only has 28 years down. My own family has a perspective on the death row and why it should be legal, because it's not right, and it does affect the family and how people view the family. The death penalty system has failed us a questionable amount of times, from being discriminatory and especially to the mentally ill who have been wrongly convicted. Sorry. There are people who have been wrongly convicted after so many years of their life thrown away, not to mention the innocent lives taken away for being put to death right away, and then realizing that they have the wrong person because of faulty evidence. There's just so many things wrong with the judicial system. And now you can all see why that the death penalty is inhumane and that capital punishment is hypocrisy. I would ask you to think how it looks on the US and the cruelty it is causing. Thank you.
All right, Angelina will be the last one today, so we won't need to pass it on to anyone.
All right.
How did we do, Alyssa?
Just want to give everyone a chance to give Angelina some feedback first, and then we'll talk about it.